All right. So let's just keep moving up. So let's look at some of the pictures. That's you. That's Ueno Asami. Choi.
Hojong,
Se
Xi
Yiming.
Yiming.
That's Suzuki.
Yep.
That's Fujisawa Yuina. That's Sumire.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's Kobayashi Satoru.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Cool.
him. That's him. I believe this is the president of Senko, and they were just talking about stuff. Yeah, very very good. And of course, we had the Judan, which Xu Chaoyuan won 3-0 over his Taiwanese
Yep.
compatriot Yu
Use
Zhenqi.
entry.
And of course, it was Len Xiao's 28th birthday. Yay!
Nice.
Very good. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the Asian Games Chinese selection process, which was taking
Yep.
place in Chujo. It's I believe it's a city in Zhejiang in China. They were just arriving. The COVID situation in China, it was still a little bit makes the situation a bit tense. So I believe one player actually missed the event due to COVID. So this was basically the Chinese selection, right? Oh, I just clicked into it. But anyway, I think what was going to happen was that there will be, I believe, 21 players in the there was meant to be 21 Chinese players, men players trying to going to take part, and I believe 16 of them were going to play in stage one. It's like a Swiss kind of tournament, and the top 5 from that would join the other 5 players to form a 10-player single round robin league, and there would be and that's what they will do. And
And then how many of those get selected?
6 out of the 10 in the will get selected.
Right.
Yeah, and it's because the men's event, I believe there will be a team event and an individual event. So of the 6 players that get selected in the men's group, 2 of them will be selected for the individual events as well. So we'll see what actually happens in this comp a bit later. Right, so that's the selection. Oh, and now to the semi-final of Senko Cup. Let's see what happened. What actually happened there?
So you had Ueno and Fujisawa, and they've already got a bit of a rivalry. As you can see, they've played many games in Japanese events.
I would consider them the top 2 women player in Japan.
I would
right
as
now.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they both hold women's titles in Japan. I think Ueno is the female Kisei, and Fujisawa is the female Meijin Honinbo, the domestic Senko Cup champion. She's got a lot of titles.
Yeah. So, I mean, they faced off. You'd fancy Fujisawa slightly in this situation, but
I would, based on her track record and being the number 1 player in Japan. Yes.
Yeah, and but Ueno got the upper hand this time. And the other,
Yeah, it was a strange game. Both, according to AI, both players were in very strong positions. It kind of flip flopped a bit, but I guess Fujisawa made the last mistake, as you would say.
yeah. Oh well, it's all about mistakes now. And the other semifinal was also interesting. 2 Taiwanese-born players face off, and really the rating was favoring Xie, and Xie was definitely the number 1 player in Japan a few years
Yeah,
ago.
I think that result on the screen there is incorrect. I think Jie lost. Am I right?
That's right. That's right. Xie lost. I don't know what's happened there. I might have typed in the wrong thing. Yeah, Xie lost.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Jie is Taiwanese, but she represents Japan.
Yeah.
She certainly represented Japan in this Senko Cup, whereas Lu Yuhua is, of course, plays in Taiwan in the Taiwanese competitions. I think she holds a title.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm not sure about the like what the Taiwanese pro scene is not really that well followed, but Lu Yuhua, I believe she might just be the strongest Taiwanese player right now. I think she also made the Go Sagan or Wu Qingyuan Cup, which is another international women's competition coming up. And she was the sole Taiwanese representative for that one.
yeah, I think it's a little bit more difficult to say who's the strongest woman in Taiwan, especially because it's so hard to follow the scene. But she's obviously she would be pretty close. She would be one of the strongest for sure.
Yeah, sure. And basically Lu won and Ueno won.
Yep.
As much as Japan had hoped for an all Japan final, it didn't really happen. So the final was
Yeah,
between Ueno and Lu Yuhua. And we'll see what happens in that game a bit later on.
yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
Yes. So there we go. So there's some pictures from the semi-final. There's Ueno, there's Fujisawa, there's Xie.
Yep.
Very interesting. Now, of course, while the Senko Cup was happening, there's also the Korean LG Cup qualifier draw, and like a lot of players are drawn into 7 groups. I mean, there's currently about 400 professional players in Korea at the moment.
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
more
and
than
I think
half of them participated in this
yeah,
qualifier.
yeah, that's right.
Now, I'm not sure if there's anything too interesting to say in this qualifier. I mean, it's just basically too many players. So
I will say the format. It's a straight knockout, and based on there was 7 spots available, and based on the number of entrants, I think you have to win 5 games to qualify.
And the player with the highest ratings are the usual suspects. So we have more to say. But I believe the LG Cup this year will only be a 24-player comp, same as last year, and about half of them will be Korean players. So there will be 7 qualifiers and 5 Korean seeds. So that's quite a lot.
Will there be 5 Korean seeds or?
It might be 2. I believe one of them might have been just Sunjin So, because he won the last LG Cup. It might just be a winner seed, and I believe the Park Jun-hwan might have gotten in by
Park Jun-hwan definitely got one of the seeds.
Yeah, he got in by the ranking seed. Bjorn might have gotten in by national team selection or something. Oh no, I think it was Shin Min-jun. Bjorn got in by something else as well. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it's the 5 seeds I believe in Korea are Shin Jin-so, Park Jun-hwan, Bjorn Sang-il,
Shin Min-jun,
and
Kim Young-hoon.
Yeah, Kim Young-hoon. Yeah, I don't know how.
And that's
Kim
not
got
even
in.
including the wild card. The LG Cup, I believe, awards a wild card as well.
Right. So there could be 13 Korean players in this run.
Yeah,
which is going to be nuts. And by the way, we didn't report on the LG Cup Japanese qualification, but they have 1 place assigned to Japan in terms of the qualification places, and I believe it's won by one of the Kotaros.
Okay. Well, we might find that out We might find that out later.
Yeah. And of course, the second Transatlantic Professional Go League between Europe and USA is ongoing every Saturday.
Europe and North America.
Europe and North America. Let's just quickly look at the results, what's happened there. So, again, I find that they don't really update the results that quickly. So, but last time we checked, basically, for example, Kevin Yang, he's still an amateur technically, but he beat Ilya Shikshin.
Oh wow!
Yeah, over 2 games. I believe every round is best of 3, and it's like a 20-minute time control kind of thing. Of course, Ryan Lee won the first one. He's also, I believe, expected to win again. I guess that's what I'm thinking.
It doesn't say that Ryan Lee won.
Last one, doesn't it?
Oh, he won the last.
Yeah. The last competition outright. And Brady Zhang, he also won versus Tan Gai Lei Kauf, I guess. Yeah, so it seems to be that even some of these North American players, even if they're kind of technically amateur, they seem to be have no issues winning against the pros in Europe. I have a feeling that North America is actually just stronger than Europe for some reason.
I'm not sure about that. It's definitely hard to say. It'd be interested to know what time zone these guys are playing in because they're obviously playing in different time zones.
Right.
And yeah, I'm definitely curious to see more results come up. Um,
Yeah.
it looks like it's very early. Like a couple of the players haven't even
Yeah.
got any results up yet. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely keen to follow this one.
Yeah. And
And
yeah, at one point I did a rating point calculation, but the problem is Europe and North America, they have different rating systems. They're kind of not even like
correlated
yeah,
on the
and
line. Yeah.
they're not to the same scale. And so I kind of had to rescale them. And after rescaling, it looked like the Ryan Lee was a lot higher rated than the best player in Europe, which was Ilya Shikshin. And when I did the simulation, Ryan Lee just won that league really easily. I didn't know whether to believe it or not, but Ryan Lee did end up winning that comp, so there could be some truth in it. But let's see. Let's see if Ryan wins again.
Yeah. Do we have a schedule for the next games, or is
Well,
it just
it's every Saturday, every starting from Saturday and Sunday. So
every
at
Saturday and
6.
Sunday? Sweet.
Yeah. So
Okay.
on plays on onlinego.com. So yeah, give
Okay.
it a follow if you can. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the. I mean, I personally I do hope that Europe and North America get stronger to the point where they can, for example, challenge Taiwan and Japan. That would make it really interesting.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
As we said, Asian Games, China selection, the women's section, some pictures there. Right, and in really, we want to just skip over stage one of the Chinese men's selection and show you the kind of the end results, actually what happened at the end. But basically, yeah, one player just won all rounds and made it to the second round, stage two. And this is basically the report for the final, basically between Ueno and Lu Yuhua in the fourth Senko Cup. And I think I watched the commentary by the Taiwanese, and basically Ueno just led from beginning to finish, ended up killing
Yeah.
one of Lu Yuhua's dragons.
Yeah, it was a very dominant, fearless game by Ueno.
Yeah. So this would be, but it might have been one of the first Japanese to win an international competition for some time.
Yeah, I think in terms of international competitions, I think maybe Ichiriki won a Globus Cup.
Yep, that's a age restricted competition.
Yeah, well, this one's a gender restricted competition, but yeah, in terms of like actual tournaments and not just single game matches, I think Ichiriki's Globus Cup might be the most recent before this one. But I did do some research on Japanese women participating in international sort of events, and I think the only result that I could find where a Japanese woman won an event outside Japan was this obscure match that NEC organized between the women's Honimbo champion of Japan and the Chinese individual champion. And they held that in the late 90s. And a Japanese player won it in 1998 and 1999. And I think that was the only instance I could find of a Japanese woman player winning outside Japan.
And I believe in the unrestricted category, Chujo was the last Japanese player to have won an international title.
Yeah, that's right. He won the LG Cup in I think 2006.
Yeah, so that's really a long time ago. So really hope that Japan can pick up again and start winning more international titles. And let's see really what happens.
This is probably the best result for Japan in probably over 5 years.
Yeah.
Internationally, it's good. It's promising.
Yeah.
And she did beat some formidable players. Her game against Yu Jiying was very good. She probably got a little bit lucky against Fujisawa. But I mean, she won.
Yeah.
And her game against Lu Hua was just, like I said, just dominant. Very deserving winner.
Yep. So congrats to Ueno and Japan. Well done. And of course, it was Li Weiqing's 22nd birthday this week. And apparently he started playing Go at 5 years of age and become pro at 13. And a little bit of interesting fact is that he plays for Team Shanghai in the Jia League. And I guess in the Chinese Jia League, which is the top division of Weiqi, pro Weiqi in China, Team Shanghai has a little bit of a reputation for, only selecting Shanghainese players for the team. But Li is actually from Hunan, from a different province in China. So
he's just that good.
Yeah. So good on him. Pretty good player. Yes. So this is the Asian Games Chinese selection. I believe this is stage 1. Just playing in a nice looking location.
I reckon it's a nice looking location.
Yeah.
Nice tables, nice chairs.
Yeah. I mean that's for a change. So let's skip over some of these more individual results.
Let's get to the end of stage 1 before
and then we'll see what happens. Now Kisei League A League, Kisei League A or A League, whatever it's called, but I don't find this A League very interesting at all because I certainly don't think it's interesting this week with so much going on. We might just skip over this one.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, I mean there was one game I think, and
it's nothing really happening.
Yeah, this A League is going to be going for quite a while. We might come back to it another time and talk about it then. And
the Taiwanese 12 Shiduan is the same as the Judan. And you may notice that these are all the players, by the way. You may notice that there's a female player here.
Is that Lu Hua?
Yes, that's Lu Yihua.
Yep.
She made the competition proper, so yeah. But I believe she did lose in the first round this time, but still pretty good result to be making one of the main comps proper. Now YK Construction Cup, what's happened there? I think there's some more interesting stuff happening later on.
So yeah, I mean because we lost the audio in the first, I just want to quickly go over the time controls for this tournament.
Yeah.
I find it quite bizarre. There's no main time and there's 10 1-minute Byoyomis.
I mean, it's made for TV, basically.
Yeah, but the interesting part is that obviously with no main time, you can't go too deep into a game, into a move. But also, you can spend like an entire minute on a move even at the opening, and like there's no penalty for it.
Yeah.
And some of the games I've seen some players, they spend the entire minute, even at the very beginning just because they can.
Yeah.
And I think it certainly is a different. The game flows a little bit differently compared to games that do have main time.
Yeah.
And I think some players have adapted to it better than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, Park Junwan and Kan Dong-yoon are probably two of the usual suspects, and they're unexpectedly at the top of the table.
Yeah.
Han Woo-jin and Kim Yoon-ji, they're winless at the moment. Both of them were the two wild cards. They picked two youth players as wild cards. So they're definitely two of the two lowest ranked players in the tournament. Hopefully they can get some wins.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I really can't see it happening, but It might.
Well, it is a long, it is a long tournament. It's a single round robin, and the top two will play a best of 5 final.
All right. Interesting. So
But they'll probably not be in the top two.
yeah, no, and also I find interesting that the very first game in the league, Sinjin So lost to Lee Jit-hun.
Yeah, that's right.
First
Very
game.
first game, and Shinjin So picked up a loss.
Yeah, and we'll see another another match in this league later on. But interesting to note that after 3 games having played like three games, Park Jun Hwan was 3-0. So it's, and Sinjin So played 2 games, 1 win, 1 loss. So at this point, Park Jun Hwan is looking at 50%, predicted to have a 50% chance of basically winning the league. But of course, the top 2 will play off, so it's not doesn't mean that Park Jun Hwan will win this, but Park Jun Hwan's looking good at this stage.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
So that's your Weiqi Cup, and the other big league in Korea happening at the moment is the third.
Oh well, this one's
strongest
the
league.
Strongest is one of the Korean majors, one of 6.
Right.
We won't go over them all, but this one is unique in that it has a title holder system, in that whoever wins is automatically seeded into the next final. In Japan, all of the majors have that format, in that to be the champion, you have to beat the champion. But in Korea, this is the only one. So that's the reason why Shin Jin-so isn't in this league. It's because he's the champion, and so he gets to play whoever wins the league.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the only kind of title holder challenger
Yep,
system.
it's the only one
basically.
in Korea. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this particular game, Bjorn just beat Yuan. That's kind of expected of Bjorn.
That's definitely expected, yeah.
But something
And you can see that puts him at 5 wins.
Yep. The most of any. But something interesting happens later on, because if you look at this, Park Jun Hwan has only played 4 times, 4 wins. So actually, based on this, with 2 games in hand, Park Jun Hwan is actually expected to win the league at this stage. But something interesting that will happen later on.
Yeah. So this league is also single round robin, because there's 9 players. Every round is only 4 games, and 1 player just doesn't play.
Yeah.
So that's why you have some people on 4 and some people on 6.
Right.
Yeah.
And also the five players will get relegated and have to re-qualify.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the top 4 automatically gets seeded for next year's league, and then there are 4 qualifiers in this season. Here, Youngrak, Yoon Chan-hee, Hong Moo-jin, and Cho Han-seong were the qualifiers.
Yeah.
And then there's 1 wild card. And in this edition, Lee Chang-seok was chosen as the wild card.
Yep. And I mean, just based on my simulation, the qualifier and the wild card are basically expected to get relegated, basically. But
yeah,
let's see what
like
happens.
The seeds. I guess their experience is paying off.
Yeah. So that's one more round of the third strongest.
Yeah.
Now, and of course, this is the Taiwanese, Shi Duan, which is a knockout at this stage. Just quickly go over the results. Nothing really interesting happens, because if you look at the Korean players, some of them are rated way below the top Taiwanese players, rather, like expected to have a 96% chance of winning. So I say nothing much interesting is happening at this early stage. We do see that one thing interesting is that there's 9 major professional competitions in Taiwan, and 5 of them are held. 5 of the titles are held by Xu Haohong at the moment, and one of them held by Lin Junyan. But the unfortunate thing was he got knocked out first round.
Lin Junyan is one of the strongest players in Taiwan. As you said, he holds one of the titles. So that's a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
I must ask, there are 7. Are there 7 results here?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. One might be missing.
Is this? I'm wondering where Zhu Haohong is.
Um,
Oh, he holds the title, so it's a
yeah,
title holder system,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he doesn't play until
Yeah,
the very end.
yeah. I think one of the games might be missing because the name was missing from the database, so the code didn't pick it up, unfortunately. But yeah. But and the other thing, of course, is that Lu Yihua. That's her name again. Senko Cup finalist.
Yep.
Unfortunately, lost in first round. But that's and of
Lin
course,
Lin, how do you pronounce her opponent?
I believe it's Lin Shixun. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
he's quite strong. I think he used to hold some titles
right. It
back
might
in the
be,
day.
but I think currently Wang Yuanjun holds 3.
Yes.
And Lin Junyan 1, and Xu Yaohong is probably the undisputed number 1 in Taiwan at the moment, holds 5. So
Yeah,
that's
he's the number one in Taiwan
yeah,
for sure.
and in the Chinese Jia League, Xu is the only Taiwanese player to have a spot there.
Yep.
So some fluff piece here. Not gonna go over that.
Yep.
Fan Wei Jing, a frequent presenter. That's the lady on the left. She's 35 this week.
Nice.
All right, more picks from the selection.
Yep.
From Chujo, China. Now this is
Oh, this is big news.
this is big-ish. It's a bit of I don't know what to say, but it's basically yeah. Well, the story was that the Korean Baduk Association sent a formal request to
Proposal.
yeah,
Yeah.
like to organize a Jubango between Sinjin and Keje. And apparently this is just what I heard online. Basically, Chinese Weiqi Association didn't get back to them for a while, so they chased up, and so the CWA just came back and says, "Nah, just too many things going on. We can't really schedule this." And there's a few opinion pieces in China, and one of them was like this. It was like last time there was a Jubango between Guli and Lee Sedo. All the funds, everything was organized. Like they had all the funds available. Whereas this KBA proposal was like, we're gonna put up half the funds. You go look for the other half. So it's not really well prepared. It seems like just let's do it. Why don't we just do it? But nothing is really planned out. They just it doesn't seem like a very well organized, serious effort. So yeah, but
There is also the question of when are they going to have the time to do it?
yeah,
Because presumably you would want it couldn't be online. It would have to be face to face. Otherwise, there's
yep,
no
absolutely, yeah,
and I mean, for the last 2 years, these players haven't travelled,
no,
and because of there's just so many things that are happening this year. There's the LG Cup, the Chunlan Cup, the Samsung Cup. There's that new international
Blanket,
Chinese
yeah,
tournament. There's the Asian Games. There's JAR League. There's KB League.
yeah,
This is a particularly busy year, I would say. That
yeah.
there's also presumably going to be the In Cup final.
Oh man, you never say for certain for in cup.
Yeah, but yeah, it does feel like in terms of both their players' playing ability at the moment, you would love to have a Jubango, but in terms of all other sort of resources and logistics at the moment, it is quite difficult to see it eventualizing.
Yeah, so chances are not this year. And I think the issue also is that because Sinjin is kind of getting better, kind of rising, and Kerje is maybe starting to slump, maybe permanently. So really, I'm not really sure how that's gonna go, but
So
I
when
still want to
would
see
you
it go
hold
ahead.
it? I mean, would you have the Jubango then when both people are on the decline?
I mean, I would prefer to be held sooner rather than later. So maybe if not this year, then next year. And I heard that they wanted to hold the format in such a way that there's one game in say China, and then the next game will be in Korea. It's kind of alternating like that. And,
Yeah,
with
that would be good.
COVID situation in China right now, yeah, it's just not really gonna happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, hope to see it probably happen at some point, but
Yes.
unfortunately not anytime soon, I guess. Maxim Cup, what's happened there?
This was game one,
Game one,
the
Maxim
Maxim
Cup.
Cup.
Yeah,
Park Jun-hwan and Lee Dong-hoon, both the two finalists from the last Korean major, the Hanguk Kiwon
yeah,
Championship.
yeah.
So they're meeting again in this final. I think they both won the Maxim Cup before. Park Jun-hwan definitely has.
Not sure about Lee
I'm
Dong.
not sure about Lee Dong-hoon. He's obviously a very good player though.
Yeah, but you mentioned that Lee Dong-hoon is one of the most consistent players in Korea.
No, he hasn't won the Maxim Cup. He's been runner-up before. Yes,
right.
but he is one of the most consistent. Yeah, he's one of the most consistent in that he'll beat everyone rated below him, but he'll lose to everyone rated above him.
Yeah, that is the very definition of consistency.
Yes, he has notably poor records against both Park Chun-hwan and Shin Jin-seo. Even for someone of, as you can see there, it's a similar record against Shin Jin-seo, and it was even worse before he beat him earlier this year.
Right. Yeah.
So
is Lee ranked number 4 in Korea at the moment?
Yeah, he's ranked number 4 in Korea.
Right.
He's been number 4 for the past few months. Only apart from Shin Jin-seo and Park Jun-hwan, only Byun Sang-gil is ranked above him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a very good player, and he's quite consistent. And I will say, I think in terms of excitement, this was probably the game of the week for me.
Yeah.
This game, both players had it was really complicated in terms of which region belonged to which player.
Yeah.
It was one of those really confusing games where you just didn't know if someone's group was safe or in the end I think Lee Dong-hoon gave up a ko to capture Park Chun-hwan's bottom right region, but the ko was worth more in the end, and so he didn't have enough points. He lost.
Yeah.
But it was a really exciting game.
Yeah.
And which is typical in Maxim Cup when you've got such insane time controls. And it is a best of 3, so he lost this game, but there's still, a game 2, which will be on Monday. And it's a must-win for Lee Dong-hoon. If he does win, then game 3 will be on Tuesday.
Yeah. So yeah. But it's it could be another 0 score performance from Lee. In fact, that would be the most likely outcome. But let's hope for better results from Lee and make it a more interesting final. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll probably be another exciting game.
Yeah. Yeah. So Meijin League. League.
How's that going? That's more than halfway.
Yeah, so Meijin, I believe it's only got nine players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, 9 players. Single round robin.
Yeah, single round robin. So, the interesting. This is very, very interesting because the top 4 are all going for it, and I really want you to pay attention to Yu Zhengqi, which is predicted by the model to have a 49% chance of winning the league at this stage. So if you win the league, you get to challenge the current Meijin, which is Yuta.
Yep.
So the top 4 players have a chance, but something very interesting will happen in the next one to make it even more interesting. And after the top 4, all of them are have 0 chance of winning, but a huge chance of being relegated. So so let's see what happens in the Meijin League.
Yep.
Yep. And this is a little bit of like an interesting piece because Chujo is basically holding the Asian game selection right now. Of course, the Senko Cup will be held in Chujo and Beijing, and they passed a law. The law basically just says, you have to promote. You have to put this in this park. You have to put a Weiqi corner so people can play there, kind of thing. It's kind of like a like a city level kind of.
Oh,
law.
really?
Yeah, they did do that, and I guess the thing is the legend of Senko. It's about this rotten axe handle. It's a famous story in Go, Weiqi legend. Apparently, that legend happened within the limits of the city of Chujo, so that's why they're so interested in promoting Weiqi culture in the city. So, yeah, they're trying to hold lots of stuff. So for those who are interested, there's a link to their government website that describes what the law is about. Yeah, interesting little read. Fifth Qingyuan, or as they call it in Japan, Yongsan Cup. The Korean team for that has been determined. All right, so Choi Jong, Kim Chae Young, Oh Yu Jing, Cho Seung-ah, and Kim Yoon-ji will be in this cup. Is there anything you want to say about this cup, Gaza?
Yes. So Choi Jong, Kim Chi Young, Oh Yu Jin, and Cho Seung-ah, they were all seeded. They were all pre-selected.
Right.
And there was only one spot available to qualifiers. So the qualification final was between Kim Yoon-ji and Oh Jong-ah. So Kim Yoon-ji won. Yeah, it's a very strong Korean contingent. That's actually the top 5 women in Korea on the Korean rankings at the moment.
Wow.
Of course, Kim Chi-young, she actually won the first Qingyuan Cup.
Yep.
And Choi Jong, I believe, has won twice now.
Yep.
Including the most recent one. So she's the reigning champion.
Yep.
It's a very strong team.
Yep.
I don't know when the tournament will start, but yeah, I did find it interesting that they only had one qualification spot out of the 5 positions, but
yeah, it's I'm not sure what happened there, but I believe in the past there used to be players from Europe as well in this competition and North America.
Well, yeah, the last edition had, I think, 2 players from Europe.
Right. Yeah. So very international.
Well, it is an international tournament, so
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the so-called international tournaments only set aside places for Asian countries. Yeah. So
yeah, and there were 2 North American spots as well.
Yeah. So 2 North American, 2 European. Interestingly, only 1 for Taiwan. 4 for Japan. It looks like 5 for Korea.
Last one had 2 for the last edition had 2 for Taiwan, Hei Jiajia and Lu Hua.
Right. Yeah, but this time looks like there's only 1.
It's possible that Korea actually only got allocated 4 spots, and Choi Jong got a spot as the previous champion.
Right. Yeah. And apparently last run, Hei Jiajia, or Joanne Missingham, as she is known, also, she actually got the wild card together with Sumire.
Oh, so she got a wild card, right? I didn't know they had wild cards.
Yes, they do. They do have 2 wild cards, according to the Chinese Wikipedia, and on the Chinese Wikipedia, they also said there will be 8 Chinese players. So yeah, another very interesting international comp to watch. But let's see what happens when they do come online. This is a bit of a funny piece.
This
Kerje. What happened there?
Yeah, well, apparently he went online to talk and had a bad experience at his university supermarket.
Yeah. Do you not find it strange that like a top pro is going to university in his prime?
That is strange because he's not just a top pro; he's one of the best in the world. He's the
Yes.
he's the top Chinese player.
Yes.
He's in my opinion, he's top 2 in the world.
Yeah. I mean, many ratings would rate him as top 2. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, if he wants to go to university, I'm as you know, coming from my background, I wouldn't disparage anyone from going to university, but it is strange for the top Weiqi player in China to basically be a part-time university student.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but he did cop a lot of flack in the Chinese media, including on social media for there's recently a very I guess like a podcast in China by one of the most senior Weiqi reporters in China. He just ripped into Kerje. I wish you could understand Chinese and listen to the podcast. He basically ripped into Kerje and saying, this is not the right time to go into university and not go on to all these, variety shows that Kerje goes to on TV and not doing all this live broadcasting, streaming stuff, all of that stuff. Just basically ripped into him for doing all of that stuff and saying that he should really focus on getting more international titles.
Well, I mean, it's probably frustrating, like as a fan of Kerje or as a fan of Chinese Weiqi, when you've got someone who's clearly as talented as Kerje. He's won 8 world majors.
Yeah.
He goes into a world major, and in Samsung Cup, he goes in, loses in the first round to Kim Ji-sok.
Yeah.
LG Cup loses in the semi-final to Shin Jin-so. Nongshim Cup loses to Shin Jin-so, and obviously losing to Shin Jin-so is not a sign of weakness, of course, but you see him losing, and then you see that he's going to university. He's doing streaming. He's going on variety shows, and you can just see he's not putting 100% into his training, and you just think, well, maybe if you just wonder if could he have won those games if he was dedicating himself more.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the criticism is going. But Kerje will be Kerje. He'll continue to do what he does.
But it's obviously hard for someone who probably has put in a lot of time already. Maybe he's he just doesn't want to spend 16 hours a day on Weiqi anymore.
Yeah.
But I still find this story quite amusing as well.
Yeah.
Like he's ordering the university supermarket and he can't even get fresh fruit.
Yeah. That's pretty terrible.
He's the best Weiqi player in China and he can't get fresh fruit.
Yeah. It's a bit amazing.
If he came to Australia, if he came to visit Australia, he could get fresh fruit.
Yeah. Well, hope he comes to play again. I think he did play at Sydney University once.
He did play. I missed the. I was one day late. I missed the day he played.
Yeah.
But he was in Sydney.
Yeah.
I hope he liked it, and I would welcome him back for sure. And I would give him fresh fruit.
Give him fresh fruit. Yes. Well, that's definitely something we can do here.
But he'll have to come in summer. He'll have to come in season.
Yeah. Or what? Yeah, I mean, it's fruit all year round, I'm sure. All right, and a more YK Construction Cup.
So this was Shin Jin-so's third game. He obviously, as we mentioned, he lost his first game, so he had some catching up to do.
Yeah.
And he was playing against Wang Sonjin, who is one of the very few players who, at the time, had a winning record against Shin Jin-so.
Right. But
and
barely 2-1.
Well, it was 2-1. It was surprising that they'd only played 3 games, but they are on the same team in the Baduk League, so they would never have played each other in Baduk League.
Yep.
And this was only their 4th game, but still, he did have a winning record, and there's not many players that can say that.
Yeah.
And well, he can't say that anymore because he lost. It was a typical Shin Jin-so
Yeah.
performance.
And I mean, it's interesting that you say that not many players have a winning record against Sinjin. So I do know of one Japanese player who has a 100% record versus Sinjin. So
Yes, that's right. I believe Shinjin has only lost once to a Japanese player. At least I can only find one loss.
yes, well, only one that's got a Kifu at least anyway that I can find.
Yeah, I would expect any. I expect all international games to have Kifus.
Yeah, well,
maybe not.
yeah, maybe not,
because
maybe not.
because yeah, some of the world majors used to have mixed qualification.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, despite having one loss, Sinjin still has a decent chance, according to my simulation, of winning.
There's
the
only
league.
there's only two players now with no losses, and Shinjin hasn't played either of them yet. So,
So
if he wins the rest of his games, he'll be sitting pretty.
yeah, so I mean, a lot of these leagues really just Park Jun Hwan and Sinjin, so maybe beyond Sin Min Jin just playing it out, but yeah. All right, so that's your YK Construction Cup continued.
Yep.
This is a very interesting one. The other big league, third Korean's strongest, game 25, Park Jun Hwan. Oh no, this is
No, this is Shin Min-jun and Lee Chang-seok.
Yep.
So one other thing I want to mention about this is that I believe this is one of the longer time controls for Korean Baduk. It's 2 hours each, and I think it's 3 1-minute byoyomis.
Yeah.
And there are not many Korean events that have 2-hour main time.
Yeah.
In Japan, that's considered a fast game, but in Korea, it's one of the slowest. But anyway, Shin Min-jun won this game, and that really affects Lee Chang-seok's.
It's not. He's more likely to get relegated.
Of getting top 4, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top 4 at the moment, it's 5, 4, 4, 4 in terms of wins, and then the bottom 5 has got 2 wins, 2 wins, 2 wins, 1 win, nothing. So
yeah,
we all know where that's heading. So that's that for another game in the third Korean strongest league.
Also, it actually it's actually good for Shin Min-jun because he was only on 1 loss.
Yeah.
So he's still only on 1 loss. So he's still got a chance of winning the league.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of chance. So of course Taiwan also held their LG Cup qualification. Not much to report there.
It's a nice looking room. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't showcase, if that's the right word, some of the LG Cup Chinese qualification rooms. It just looked like
nice chairs as well.
I think the audience should look up that post with the pictures in it. The chair was like half broken, and that
was a shambles.
It was a bit. The room wasn't that great. It looks like a university dormitory at best. A little bit of interesting stuff. I believe Taiwan also has been holding their like what they call the Weiqi dojo, and basically just promising young players come in.
Who's that person in the middle?
That's Zhou Junxun. That's one of Taiwan's only international title winner, actually. He won the LG Cup. Hey?
LG Cup.
LG Cup, yes, he won the LG Cup. Now he was probably one of the players who's kind of least likely to win an international title, according to ratings, but he did it, and good on him.
One of the most unlikeliest winners.
Unlikeliest, yes. And this is just him playing with 6 children, who came to the dojo to try and get selected.
Very nice.
Yeah, so very nice. More Asian game selection comp picks. They kind of look samey after a while, just nothing much to look at.
This is the women's tournament. That's Rui Nawe on the right there.
It's Rui Nawe.
Scroll back, legend.
Legend, one of my favorite players for sure.
So this is so it says this is the final stage. The participants for the final stage have been determined. How many participants are there? 8?
8. There's 8 players, and I think the top 4 women players in China get directly seeded into stage 2, and and 4 players have to qualify, and the people who
If
qualify,
you
I
look at
believe.
that list there, you see that's the usual suspect. That's the best of the best in terms of
Yeah.
Chinese women. Yu Jiying,
Ying, Zhou actually won a Gosekin Cup over Yu, and
yeah,
Wang
she won the third
Chenxing,
one. Yeah,
Lu Mingchen. I believe I misspelled her name. I think there's no G in here, but and
yeah,
Chen Yiming, that's this lady here. She's also the wife of Chen Yaoye, and of course
yep,
Ray Na Wei, the legend, and Wu
yep.
Yiming, Li He. They're very strong
Lee He,
players,
Lee He's also won an international title.
right?
I think she won the Bingsheng Cup or something like that.
Yeah, probably that comp must be discontinued now, I think. Yeah,
But she
so
did win it.
yeah, so very strong list of players.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
best of the best.
yeah,
Yeah.
but of course this group you wouldn't put them as the best ever women players at their prime. But if you, I would put Ray Naiwei there as the best woman player ever, because Ray actually won open competitions, like basically one versus men.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
also
I
beat
mean,
Lee Chang Ho and Cho Han Hyun
yeah.
in their prime. So just crazy, and she might be 60, if not late
Yeah,
50s. Yeah,
China has a few decades of history in terms of strong women players.
yeah. I believe back in the 70s or 80s, the women and men players used to train together. So that's why they just have to be that strong. Otherwise, they wouldn't make it. That's what
Yeah.
what I heard. Yeah, and we'll come back to the men's selection
Yep.
in the
Yep.
stage 2. Um, so um, I think day 4 was actually when it ended. Let's see what happened. So yeah, so
Yep.
day 4 was when the first stage ended. So if you recall, the first stage was between all of these players, and they played in kind of like a massive Swiss like tournament. If you want to
7
follow,
rounds.
yeah,
7 rounds.
7 rounds. So you see only one play, and every time you win, you get 2 points. And I suspect the 2 point was because they want to account for the rare possibility of a draw. So you get 1 point each for a draw, maybe. I'm not sure, but you get 2 points for a win.
Right.
And only one player have won all 7 games. And I believe the top 5 here will join the 5 seeds in
So
the 10
Li
player league.
Juanhao, Lian Zhao,
Yeah,
and Tuo Jiaqi,
yeah.
they all qualified. Who qualified out of the 8 points?
Fan Yu. Yeah.
And Sheke?
And Shaker, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it must be some kind of head-to-head. And as with any of these Chinese social media thing, it's not really clear what the tiebreaker rules are. But I imagine because it's like a Swiss-like tournament, so it must be strength of opponent kind of thing that gets decided. Which this table isn't detailed enough to show, but yeah.
That's all right.
But if you're interested in all the results, just go through that. And I think only 2 games per round have Kifu recorded. The rest are just not there. So
Very impressive by Li Juanhao to
Yes.
Win all 7 of his games.
yes, and he was born in might have been born in 1997. Li Chuanhao, the same year as Ke. So he hasn't had the as good a record definitely as Ke, but definitely one of the strongest player. And I believe by winning 7 games, he's earned enough points to make himself 9 Dan.
Oh, really?
Yes, so he became a 9 Dan. And I think China has a system where you have to win a certain percentage of your games to become 9 Dan. So he's done pretty well.
I think of the 4 biggest regions, China has the most difficult 9 Dan process. You have to win you have to win a certain percentage of your games, or you have to win a world major.
Yeah, and I think they've relaxed it, because it used to be that you can only do it via the world major, and winning a percentage of your games is actually, they might have more stringent criteria back then. I'm not sure, but it does feel like they're a lot more Chinese players have become 9 Dan recently. Just
through that process.
through that process because so that's that. And of course, we'll talk about the 33rd Women's Meijin Final between Fujisawa Arena and Sumire. That's coming up.
Yep.
And I believe this is a bit of a kind of inconsequential game, if I would put it this way.
So game 15 was the last game of the third round.
Right.
So this would have put everyone on 3 games. But I tell you what, although this game was inconsequential, this game was really exciting.
Right.
I remember following it online, and Han Woo-jin was dead and buried after about 30 moves.
Right.
And then according to AI, and then I'll try and send you a quick link.
Right.
Just to show you the AI evaluation. If you look in the chat.
Yeah. I'm trying to open it, and so this is exactly move 30. Okay, black is a bit broken, I guess. We'll connect.
Try move 40. Try move 40.
All right. Okay.
I don't think that was the result that black wanted in the bottom left.
No, so black, this group is a bit of a trouble. Of course, there's a double Atari here for white. But white can press black down. Okay, white decided to go the corner route. Okay, protects the double Atari. I guess next thing would be white trying to secure this group and attack this group. I guess something like that. Okay. Full. Okay. Okay, 19 by 19 is going to be a slow load for me. So what does AI say at this point?
AI says white's at about 1%. I mean, black's at about 1%.
Yeah, okay. Is this black group even alive yet? Probably not. Yeah, and this, okay.
Like it probably, no, it doesn't have 2 eyes yet. No.
and this is all right. Okay, that's Sente. I guess so. Yeah, all right. Yeah, 19 by 19 isn't really loading for me.
Never mind about 19 by 19, but it's I do encourage people to go through that game if they can. I'll try and put a link in the post.
Yeah. So
you can put the link in the post if you want. But,
oh yeah, of course. There's a
wait, the key, you've already got the Kifu in the post, so
sorry. Yeah, the Kifu's in the post. Yeah. Yeah, the Kifu's in the post. They just don't have the 19 by 19 link with what you call it, the evaluations.
The AI. Yeah.
You know what? We really should be thinking about getting an AI service up so that all the Kifus have that. I think the only service I know currently is AI Sensei, but they're still working on the interface.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a very strange game. Han Woo-jin was just quickly. Han Woo-jin was dead and buried until about move 200.
Yeah.
And then he managed to complicate the game and completely reverse it.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, he made a mistake and lost.
Yeah.
So
that's unfortunate.
So he still lost.
I mean, according to the ratings, Kim Se-dong is probably the weakest of the lot. That's not like got through by wildcard. So yeah, Han probably had the best chance of winning there, but I guess didn't happen for him this time.
Yeah.
And new female pro from Korea, Ko Miso. So one little gripe I had about the website. Of course, this news I got from the Baduk, Korean Baduk Association's website. In the title and in the body, her names are translated differently by Google Translate.
I
It's
believe
just
this is the
nuts.
correct translation, but
Right.
it's always difficult to know exactly.
Yeah.
It was interesting that you mentions that she made the semi-final of a women pro comp.
Yeah.
So that is actually true. The pro comp was I believe it was called a millennial tournament. It you know it wasn't just it was age restricted and gender restricted. It was for women who were born after the year 2000.
Right.
And yeah, she made the semi final. She actually beat Jong Yu Jin um, in a prelim, and she's not bad. She's a two dan, but she was in the Korean Women's Strongest League, and
Right.
she is in the Korean Women's League.
Right.
So she's not bad, and yeah, she Komiso beat her, so that's already good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of. I'm interested to see how well she does. I did read the article, and she said that she turned pro later than she would have hoped, but her parents were very patient,
Right.
and so she was very grateful for her parents continuing to support her to become
Yeah.
pro.
Yeah. She's only
Um,
20, so
yep, yep, yeah.
yeah. So
Best of luck to her.
yeah, definitely. We'll see another new Korean pro later on.
Okay.
I believe I might have not gotten the canonical name for this competition.
Yeah, I call it the
Yongsan,
Yongseong,
Yongsan, yeah. So
but
yeah,
who
it's
knows?
it's kind of this same kind of thing. It's the same competition as the Ryosei in Japan and Longxing in China. I believe
Yeah,
it's
but
run by
this one's
the
considered a major. This is one of the
right.
majors in Korea.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I believe this all three competitions are produced by this channel in Japan called Go and Shogi channel, or Shogi and Go channel, one of either of those names. And it's just made for TV. It's a made for TV competition, and uh, I, I I don't have the knockout charts here, so that's potentially something that we can improve in the future to include the knockout.
yeah, this one's a 32 player knockout, I believe.
Yeah, but if you look at the knockout, it's really interesting because all this, you notice that in my prediction of the eventual winners, I almost all of his strong players are gone.
Yeah, Park Chun Wan lost in the first round,
Yeah,
and now Byun Sang. This most recent game was Byun Sang Gil. This was also a very interesting game. It was a really big Moyo game, and then Byun Sang Gil was ahead, but he let um, Simjaek invade in like the bottom right, and Simjaek lived, and that completely reversed the game.
yeah,
So
it's,
Byun Sang-gil lost. Um, Yeonseong, like because it's equivalent to the Ryuseo in Japan, it's a very fast competition. It's 20 minutes, and it's 20 with main time with 20 seconds Fisher time. So you just get 20 seconds added on
yeah,
every time you make a move.
yeah,
So you can have more than 20 minutes at points if you move fast enough.
right,
But yeah, it's still a very quick competition, and yeah, Park Jun Wan's gone, Byun
Beyond's
Sang Gil's
gone.
gone, Shin Min Jun's gone.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Lee Dong Hoon even entered this tournament, but he's not there.
yeah. So
Um,
let me. Yeah, I don't see him in the list at all. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
yeah, either he didn't qualify or he didn't enter qualifying. I'm presuming the latter
Yeah,
for some reason, but in any case, yeah, Shin Jin-so strong favorite.
yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Kim Ji Sok, which I believe is number 5 in Korea at the moment, and
Yeah,
Wen is still top 10. Kang Dong Yun, of course, twice international, winner. Also Park Yun Hon earns out, but really, according to simulation, because their ratings are so much behind Sinjin So, like 300 points. It's really looking like it's Sinjin So's tournament to lose.
Kim Ji-sok actually won the first Yongseong.
Right.
Interestingly, yeah, the first Yongseong final was Kim Ji-song beating Kang Dong-yoon.
Yeah.
So Yeah, Kim Ji-sok beating Kang Dong-yoon. So Kim Ji-sok, he's also won the Maxim Cup recently. So he may be better at faster time controls than what his rating suggests.
Right. Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, and did Sinjin So won the last two?
He won the
Yongsan?
last two, and he
Right.
lost to Park Chun-wan in the third last one. There's only been 4 Yongseongs, and so Shin Jin-so lost in the final the second one, and then he won the third and fourth.
Right. Yeah. So Sinjin So's been in the final for three comps in a row, and looking very likely to make it to the final for this one.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's so consistent in this event because it's so fast that there's so much volatility, but he's still consistent.
Yeah, I mean, consistently winning 2 in a row. So also made a final for 1 more. So that's that. Now, one of the third Korea's strongest league.
Oh yeah, this is a story.
Yeah. So poor choice of words there. I say it's cancel, but it's actually not cancel. Basically, Hon was judged to have lost. Basically, in this game just never went ahead. And apparently, the TV live broadcast just went on for 20 minutes without the game.
Yeah, they showed it.
Yeah, they showed it.
You can watch the video on YouTube on the K Baduk channel. It's just Kang Dong-yoon sitting in a chair for 15 minutes, and sometimes they have close-ups. And they have close-ups of the clock.
Yeah, and apparently just the clock. They're just showing the clock counting down, and when it got counted down, and I don't know what does the commentator say? It's just like nothing. He's like, oh, shall we go to the ads right now? I was like, for 15 minutes. What's the story? But this is one of the most odd ways to kind of lose a game.
Yeah, I've never seen it happen before.
I think the media did pick up another story with Na Hyun. He was late. I believe last year for the Korean League, but he was only late for 10 minutes, so he still made it in time. He just lost 10 minutes of main time.
Well, some of those Korean League games were only 10 minutes main time.
So he lost everything. So maybe he just wanted to.
Well, who knows? Like some of them were an hour, some of them were 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm not sure, but but this is 2 hours main time. But I'm guessing that there's a rule that if you're not there in the first 15 minutes,
then you forfeit. Yeah, then you lost by forfeit. So that's that. So that's one game that I.
Well, that just solidifies the top 4.
Yeah, it doesn't.
More because Kang Dong-yoon was in the top. It was 4th, so that's just like a free win.
I think we'll see a table on that later on if you want to. So
nice.
Anyway, we talked about this before. Basically, after 7 rounds, Li Shenhao, Lian Xiao, Tuo Jiaxi, Fan Tingyu, and Xie Ke made it into the stage 2 of the Chinese men's selection comp for the Asian Games, joining Ke Jie, Ding Hao, Gu Zihao, Miu Ting, Yang Dingxin. So really, I think this, because they're selecting top 6 out of 10 players, and they've seeded the top 5 players from China into the stage 2. I think they were trying to design this in such a way that you're almost guaranteed to select the top 5. Basically, that's really what the next post is kind of what the simulation shows is showing here. Really, I did a simulation. Like basically, the top 5 has the best chance of being selected. It's extremely unlikely for Ke Jie and that to get unselected, but we'll see some drama there later on.
I am curious as to why they did this format. For instance, in Korea, Shin Jin-so didn't even put him in the qualifiers. They just selected him straight away.
Yeah.
Presumably for the individual event as well, which only has 2 participants.
Yeah.
I'm curious. The Chinese Weiqi Association surely could have just selected Ko-jae in the team immediately.
Yeah, but Ke Jie does maybe perceived to have concentration issues, and also the other thing is in China they don't nearly have as many games as they have in Korea. So it felt like that they were trying to get this comp together so that the top players get more game time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So I mean, anyway, they kind of designed it in such a way that the top 5 will get selected, but you still have to work for it because the field is very strong, and we'll see later on what happened there. the field is really, really strong here.
Yeah.
And for those that are interested, you can look up this post. I had a player profile, like a small one for each of the top 10 players. But it's a really strong field. I would say that if you put the top 10 in Korea together, it wouldn't be as strong as this one.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. This is the forfeit game, of course.
Yeah, can we have a quick look at the table?
Yeah. This is after the forfeit game. This is what happens. So this is still very interesting because the simulation is still predicting Park Jun-hwan because he's got 2 games.
Yeah, but look at the relegation percentages.
Yeah, no, it's all gone for these guys, really. Because they look like they have 2 wins and everyone else is like 4 or 5, you know. So, yeah. Not really happening for them, is it?
Well, yeah. I think there's one more game left in the career's strongest this week. So maybe we can get to that game and then see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Some more pictures, kind of samey again. Not much happening, just the Chinese Asian game selection. The room is still nice.
It's still a nice building.
Oh yes, by the way, they okay, you see this phone here?
Yeah.
They literally, I think, broadcast 1 or 2 games live per round on the Chinese Weibo. So for those that are interested, you kind of just try to find the Weibo link. They will broadcast. I did watch the Kerje game today. Actually, 2 games were broadcast today. Both were Kerjes. Yeah. So that's you literally just watch the game on the phone. It's really interesting. And then look at the players' expressions, facial expressions, and all that stuff. Of course, the Caltex Cup happened. Yay!
Yeah, I think 2 games have happened now.
Yep. Yeah, 2 games.
This was the it's a 24. It's similar to LG Cup. It's 24 players.
Yeah.
24 players. 8 players get a bye.
Yeah.
To the second round.
Yeah. So this is how the knockout chart looks like. You see these darker color, of course, are the bye players. They just go direct to the second round.
Yeah.
And they're
all the top. They're all the top players.
Yeah. So let's look at the bye players. So Sinjin So, An Sung Jun.
Yeah, he's top 10.
Kim Ji Sok.
Yeah.
Simin Jun, Wen Son Jin, Byung Sang Yu, Kim Min Young. Yeah, they're all the top players, right? So
yeah, only Lee Dong Hoon is missing from that, but again, he didn't enter qualifiers.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd. But anyway, according to the simulation, again, Senjin Saw the standout, 65% chance of winning.
He's won the last 4
yeah
Caltech Cups, by the way.
He's just so dominant in Korea at the moment. It's just nuts. Yeah, so I think there's one game that happened, pretty inconsequential, but still, it's happened.
Yep.
And of course, the women's league in the Asian game selection also determined the top 8 players. So Lu Ming Chuan, Chen Yiming, Wang Chenxing, Zhou Hongyu, Ray Naiwei, Yu Zhiying, Wu Yiming, Li He. We talked about this before, and the top 4 will get selected. But the women's league is different from the men's league in that it's a double round robin because they have eight players, so they double. The men is only single.
That'll be one black and will that be one black and one white, or will it both? Will the game be random?
I will only imagine that it's only fair to be one black, one white. I guess in a double.
If you're gonna have a double round robin, you may as well have one black, one white.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I think that's probably what happened, but really not 100% sure. And actually, about 4 games have happened, but I haven't had the chance today to look at what's happened. But
that's all right. We can cover that next week when there's more games.
Yeah. Another major in Taiwan, the third Mingren champion. Yeah. So Mingren, of course, is the same as Meijin. It's the biggest prize money comp in Taiwan. It's about equivalent to a minor title in Japan. So it's about equivalent in prize money to like a Judan, for example.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. But it's 3-0 at the moment. Not really happening for Lin Junyan.
No, this is Zhu Haohong's.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be 4-0.
Yeah, I did watch the stream, at least the last bit of it, and I watched the summary by the Taiwanese pros that explained the game. But Lin was doing really well by the middle game. He built a huge moyo, but Xu just just completely destroyed the Moyo. It's just it's really crazy. It's a good game to watch, definitely.
I haven't seen it, so maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's all in Chinese. It's all in Mandarin, so it's a bit hard to watch outside of it. If you don't speak.
I can at least follow the moves, though.
Yeah, you can follow the moves. It's really interesting. 33rd Women's Meijin finally happened.
I was looking forward to this.
Game 1. What's happened there?
I was watching this game.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah. I think a lot of people were watching this game.
Yeah. It would have been cool to have a Michael Redmond stream.
Right, yeah.
But there wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But from what I could see, I think Fujisawa had a good opening. And in the middle game, she was ahead. AI said she was ahead by a little bit, but then she made some really weak moves at the top.
Yeah.
And that brought the game back to even. And from there it was very exciting. But eventually, I think in the end game in Yosei, Nakamura played a couple of slack moves, and Fujisawa just had more prowess in the end game.
Yeah.
And pulled ahead by well Nakamura resigned in the end, but she was down by maybe 5.5 points, I think.
Now, I mean, really, because Nakamura is the youngest challenger ever for a title in Japan.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ratings, she really isn't expected to win. And so far, the head-to-head is 3-0. But
it's a really... I just want to say, this is a really exciting story because Fujisawa... I remember when I first heard about Fujisawa, and she turned pro, I think, at 11 or something like that. And she was a prodigy.
Yeah.
And it's it's been about 10 years since she turned pro, but now she's the top player in Japan. She's always had a lot of potential, and now she's sort of realizing that potential. And Nakamura is essentially following in her footsteps.
Yeah.
And both of them, I believe, have their dad a pro. Their dad's a pro.
Yes, they are.
So they also have that in common, and I believe Fujisawa has known of Nakamura for well before she turned pro, and that's probably because of her dad.
Right.
Nakamura was probably known to the Nihon Kiin for a long time through her dad.
Yeah.
That's just my guess, and she obviously Nakamura was a very special recommendation to turn pro at 10. Started off with a lot of potential, has basically been progressing as everyone expected, or even better than people have expected.
I mean, to challenging at 13.
Yeah, and it probably is a bit too early for her to be expected to win titles, but it's just really exciting to see someone so young and so talented playing in a major final. And she did play a good game. I think she played quite. She wasn't like just completely blown away. She wasn't totally out of her depth, and she fought. And it is a best of 3, so there's going to be another game. I think it's tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to be following that.
Yep.
And who knows? Who knows what can happen?
Yep. Let's hope to have a good game.
Yeah.
So definitely very, very interesting.
I think it was a good game to watch. It wasn't a boring game, so it was worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, as I mentioned, the Asian Games women's selection, 4 rounds has happened, but this is the first 2 rounds. And I believe, according to the Chinese media, Yu Zhiying had 2 big reversals, massive ones, basically.
I did follow her first game with
Wang Chengxing, and yeah, that was a huge reversal. I think she basically killed a group that should have been alive of Wangs.
Yeah, and yeah, so you know, the other big reversal was between Yu Zhiying and Zhou Hongyu down here. So apparently, according to AI, at this point, Zhou is basically leading a lot, and Zhou is white. And I believe AI, all that Zhou has to do is kind of just make this white group alive, and that was it. So just play here, that would be alive. But she decided to play here, and I think she was thinking that this Atari doesn't work for black. But there's even a better move. Apparently, you just played here, and that kind of made this group either die or have to lose the tail, and that's how you reverse the game. But at this point, it was 99% or something like that for Zhou. Just crazy. This game didn't continue over very long after this, because at this point, like just resigned like soon after playing this move. So basically, you connect, you might lose the tail, or if you don't do that, you might lose the whole group. And that was a really sad end for Zhou, really. But that's just what happened. Yeah, that's when the game ended. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yep. But more to talk about. But really, looking like and Zhou did lose the first game, but still expected to.
Well, I mean, there's 14 games, so there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, so it's not like it's gonna end, soon for them. But
yeah, can't rule anyone out at the moment.
Yeah. Now, I honestly don't know how I made this spoiler, because I posted some of these just not using the interface, but it did become a spoiler, but for good reasons. This is the third Korea's Strongest League, another one of those games, but this game is actually really good. Park Jun-hwan versus Lee Chung-suk. Lee won.
This is the most recent game to have been played, I believe, in the Korea's Strongest, and this was an upset.
Well, before this game, it was the head-to-head was 4-0.
And also, Park Jun-hwan won all 8 games in the last Korea's Strongest, and he was on a 4-0 streak.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Before this game, Park was 4-0 with 2 games in hand. And if you remember the simulation, Park Jun-hwan was well ahead, maybe at 60-something% for a chance of winning the league. But after losing one, it's Byeon is back. And Shin Min-jun's chances doesn't look so minuscule anymore. Of course,
and also Lee Chang-suk has a slightly better chance of avoiding relegation now.
Yes, slightly, yes, just ever so slightly, because really 3, I guess, it isn't that far away from 4 now. Anything could happen.
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But the important thing is it's thrown this league wide open.
Yeah. 100%.
Remember also Byun Seung-gil and Shin Min-jun haven't played Park Jun-hwan yet.
Right.
They have played each other though, so I believe, I don't remember who won that one. Did Shin Min-jun
play who?
Byun.
Shin Min-jun won. That's so
right.
Shin Min-jun
I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what the tiebreakers are. But if it's head to head, obviously that's an advantage for Shin Min-jun. But the big games will be Shin Min-jun versus Park Jun-hwan and Byun Seung-gil versus Park Jun-hwan.
Yeah. So still to play, but it's a lot more even now after this surprise loss.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Very exciting.
Good. I like it like that. Well. Yeah, all right. 1 Caltex Cup, fairly inconsequential.
That was the first game. Yeah. I expected Seol Hoon-jun to win. He was on a big winning streak in the Korean Baduk League.
Right.
And he's moved up into, I think, number 14 or something like that in the Korean rankings. And yeah, he just got his group just died.
Yeah. It might have been not this one. Yeah, so, and of course by ratings it's huge difference, so it was definitely an upset.
Yeah, I think Choi Kyung-ho is like number 86 in
Right.
Korea,
Yeah. So
and Seoul is number 14. So
yeah, huge
there you
upset.
go.
Okay, this is a bit of a surprise announcement for me, but the Chinese Weiqi Association announced another Chujo Lanka Cup, but as a domestic comp, and the international one of version of Lanka Cup is still going ahead. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
this one
a knockout.
this confused me. So is this? I assume that the domestic cup was just going to be transformed into an international tournament,
That's what I
similar.
thought. That's what I
Yeah,
thought. But
similar to the Tongyang Cup in
yeah,
Korea back
yeah,
in the 80s.
yeah,
But it looks like it's
yeah,
now just they're keeping the domestic one and
yeah.
this international one's just
It's like a
an
new one.
offshoot. Yeah.
So
Similar to the like in Korea they have the Kuksu Mountains domestic tournament and international tournament. And obviously
right.
Japan of course have the Senko Cup
Yeah,
domestic competition and the Senko Cup international competition. So
right.
it looks like this is going to be one of those things.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but when I first saw the news about the international version of this, it sounded like a replacement. But in this, looking at this one, it looks like they just got a ninth one, to continue the domestic one. It may have been that because Chujo is like the huge supporter of Weiqi, as I mentioned, because
Yep.
they apparently they just wanted to just help the Chinese players out, like giving them more games. You know, that could possibly be the reason. Um, just but good to
That's
have
always good. That
good to
I
have more
definitely
comps.
want more games in China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the interesting thing is the winner of this comp will get a direct berth into the international version. So
Oh, that's great.
all the more reasons to try and win this one. Of course, the prize money is not bad too. It's probably a bit bigger than a minor title in Japan.
Yeah, that's about 100,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's probably like a white
That's
collar
that's more than
offer.
that's more than a Korean major.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably like a white collar worker in the West kind of good salary kind of thing. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned before, the fifth Wu Qingyuan Cup Taiwan rep will be Lu Yuhua. Her name's popped up a few times this week, so
Yep.
possibly the strongest player in Taiwan. And so this is the Korean Baduk League postseason interviews. They've bought it to put English subtitles on it.
I encourage people to go to the Baduk TV channel. There's actually 4 videos with English subtitles. This one is entirely focused on Shinjinso. It's interesting. They're asking all the teams, you know, how keen are you to play against Shinjinso? And every team is saying we don't want to play him.
Well,
they're all saying, and this is something that I suspected. They're all saying, that we don't want our strongest players to play against Shinjinso. We want our weakest players to play against him because that's better for the team.
yeah.
Because then our strongest players actually have better chance of winning.
Wow. Game theory.
Yeah, the only team that, well, Byun-sang Gil said he wouldn't mind. He's willing to play Shinjinso, but Byun-sang Gil also said that he thinks he's the weakest player in the team.
Right.
I think Byun-sang Gil is just extremely humble.
Or maybe okay, so it wasn't a joke.
No, and the top team, the team that Hapcheon, I think they're the team that they're directly qualified for the finals.
Yeah.
And they outright said they don't expect to even see Shinjinso because Shinjinso's team is at the bottom of the step ladder.
Right.
So it works as Shinjinso's team finished. Well, they qualified. They barely scraped into the finals, so they're in the very last position. They play Kicks, which is Shin Minjun's team, and they have to win twice, whereas Kicks only have to win once.
Right.
And then they play third place, which is Taijim, and that's a best of 3. And then they have to play whoever finished second. I don't remember the team, but that's also best of 3. And then, if they win that, then they play Hapcheon in the final.
Right. So
Hapcheon were basically saying they don't expect Shinjinso's team to make it that far,
right.
which is I guess a reasonable opinion, considering that they they barely qualified. They barely made the finals in the first place.
Well, I mean, Xinjiang Zhou has won on his team, so his other teammates must have not done so well this year.
It is interesting. I do want to mention that because the finals do start next week.
Yeah.
So I do want to mention this before the finals start. Xinjiang Zhou's team won the entire championship. The team name is Celtrion. They won the whole championship last year, and they kept the same team.
Yeah.
They didn't replace anyone. And this year, Xinjiang Zhou won every single game. So they basically had an automatic win every time.
Yeah.
And so you have 5 players, so you need to win 3 to win the match.
Yeah.
And they already had a guaranteed win in Xinjiang Zhou, and they still only barely made the finals. They came 6 out of 10 teams.
Yeah.
So Wansong Jin, who won every game last season, he was the MVP.
Yeah.
He barely broke 50% this season.
Yeah.
So he had a big drop off.
Yeah.
Kang Seung Min had a very poor first half of the season. He did pick it up in the second half, but he started off really badly. Cho Han Seong, he was really only here or thereabouts. He was about 50% as well. And then their bottom player was a young player named Kwom Ji Woo or something like that.
All
and
right.
he was so bad
Yeah.
that they actually didn't play him every time. They brought up a player from the B team a few times instead of Kwom Ji Woo. I think Kwom Ji Woo only won like 3 games the whole season.
Man,
He was it was so disappointing.
That's crazy. Now, okay, so it is, I imagine Pro Baduk, Pro Weiqi must be a tough world as well, because it's not easy to see newcomers coming in, because I do remember reading an interview with one of the coaches in the Jia League. He was like finding a new player like Jin Chen Yu, which had like a more than 50% record in the Jia League, and he's only 18. Like, finding someone like that, it's just so difficult. Like they would have play one player, and the player would just crack under pressure, and they just have to play someone else. It's not easy finding the player with the right the skill, the mindset, the pedigree to play in these tough leagues.
Yeah, but I mean, how else are they going to get the experience?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna just crack and under pressure, then
I
don't know.
Like the problem with Celtrion is that they needed every win they could get just to make the finals, so they couldn't afford to give people trial runs.
Yeah.
And I who knows? Obviously the first game is going to be against Kicks, and Celtrion have to win.
Yep.
Whereas Kicks can afford to lose that round. But I'll be interested. It'll all depend on the matchups.
Yep.
They'll obviously want Xinjiang Zhou will obviously want to get paired against Shin Min Jun, the strongest player on Kicks.
Yep.
Otherwise, they'll struggle.
Yeah. And I'll just want to bring up 2 points. One is that on this particular rating list, this is not Go ratings. There is now a estimate for the form, the player's form. And as you can see, one just had woeful form in the last year, so minus 133. Right, so that's
I think that's more a sign of how strong he was last year.
Yeah.
Or rather than, I think he's performing more to expectations now, whereas last year he was performing well above expectations.
Basically, you're saying he was kind of overestimated based on his last year's performance.
He overperformed, yeah.
Yeah. But now this year is kind of regression to the mean again, but he's just not. It's definitely a lot worse than last year. I guess that's what this is saying.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you may notice that in the Chinese league, the Jia League, they only have 4 players instead of 5, and basically they have this concept of a main player. So, and basically, or captain or whatever it's called. So basically, in the case of a 2-2 draw in the Chinese league, if the main player or the captain or whatever, if that person wins, then you get more points. So that's kind of a way to encourage the teams to play their strongest player in that position.
See, that's a good point. Whereas, in the Baduk League, I don't think either team, neither team knows who's been selected to each board.
Yep. So it's all random.
Yeah, it's all random. So, I mean, if you see Shinjin So game paired up against their weakest player, it's not because either team set it up that way.
Yep.
It's just random, and usually that's better for the other team because that means that their weakest player is sort of like the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And then all of their strongest players are probably going to get more favorable matchups on average.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all about winning. It's all about winning 3 games. You don't need to win every game. You just need to win 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of puts less emphasis on the strongest player.
Yeah. So Shinjin So can win every game, which he has done, and it doesn't mean that his team's going to win.
Yeah. And we're just going through some picks of the Asian Games, Chinese women's selection.
Yeah. Are they in the same building as the men?
Yeah, they should be, but might be in different rooms though.
Who's that?
This is Wang Chenxing.
Oh, that's Wang Qingjing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Don't know who this is actually. Might be one of the younger ones. Oops, decline. Let's close this.
Was that one of the Yi Mings?
Possibly.
That's Rui Nawe, of course.
Yeah, no, that's that's Zhou Hongyu. I really have to see their name tag, otherwise I won't be able. Okay, that's Lu Mingchuan.
Is that Lu Mingchuan?
That's Lu Mingchuan. That's the name tag. So yeah. Eventually I'll be able to recognize all of them, but some. Oh yeah, that's actually Wu Yiming. Yes. So this lady here is Wu Yiming. That's Wang Chenxing. That's Zhou Hongyu, Rui Wei. That's Li He. You can't actually see her, but her features I would say are quite kind of different. So you could definitely recognize her if you did remove her task. But with the mask on, it's a bit harder to see.
It's like she's grown her hair a bit longer.
Yeah,
I remember. But
I still recognize the face of Chen Yiming because she does have a unique kind of facial features.
Is that Wu Yiming versus Chen Yiming?
Yeah, that's Wu Yiming, Chen Yiming. Yes.
Are they related?
No, that's Wu and Chen. That's their family name.
Okay.
Good joke though. Okay, this is the pictures. So this is when Sumire is like, I don't know, 8.
She looks
10.
like 6 or 7 or something like that. Yeah.
And now that's what they look like now.
Yeah, so they've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. So, and this is what do you call it? An anime or manga depiction of them.
Right.
Doesn't look like them at all. Don't know. But this is the news conference after the first game. So, whoa! Look what's happening there.
Look how many phones there are on the table.
Do you notice this guy wearing a Chinese flag or something? It's a mask.
Is he a Chinese reporter?
No, I'm just making things up. It looks like the Chinese flag.
Oh, okay.
But look, it's just huge interest.
Look how many, and there's all the boom mics and everything.
Yeah, no.
That's in the background there. That was
You mean here?
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's the famous Japanese women player. I can't remember her name.
Yoshihara.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, I think she did she was the consultant for the Hikaru no Go.
Yeah, Hikaru no Go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's really she's coming in.
Yeah. First move.
Notice, I believe reporters are allowed in the room for the first 10 minutes also, something like that.
Yes, they're allowed in for the first couple of minutes. I noticed that they're there for the first couple of minutes and then they leave.
Yeah. I did read an interview by pros that even the first 10 minutes that they're in there, it's still very distracting. But yeah, of course this is after the game and they all just came into the room just holding everything.
Yeah.
Japanese culture seems to be very fascinated with what they had for lunch during the games. I'm not sure why, but you always ended up with pictures of their food.
Yeah.
Of course, the younger player is expected to wipe the board clean before the game. So that's what.
The younger player.
Or the player that's got less status. Or maybe like you say, for example, you're the challenger. I believe that's what you are meant to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's just low quality pictures, but that's there's some good pictures there. And this is the other Korean new pro this week. Im
Kyung
Kyung
Chan.
Chan. Yes. I guess nothing much to say except he turned pro.
Well, who knows? We
Who
might
knows?
hear about him in the future.
Hopefully. Now, Meijin League. This game is actually quite interesting, I would say. But we don't have to look at the whole game. Just look at the end. Not many moves has been played.
Yeah.
This whole black group is just dead. Just, that's why this game ended, I guess. Just
Wait,
gone.
what?
It's gone.
Wow.
Wow, crazy, huh? It's completely gone. So resigned quite early. It was just 150 move. It says here. But it was quite interesting. If you recall earlier in the, we were saying that Yu Zhengqi had the best chance of becoming the challenger, but Yu Zhengqi just lost one game to Ida Atsushi. Look how the league evened out. Like, the top 4 players now all have about the same chance of winning.
Seven of the players have 2 losses.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's
Wow.
what it says. Yeah. Crazy, huh?
That's a pretty even league.
Very even league. That's one loss by you, kind of a little bit unexpected, but it kind of happens. But
Well, Ida is a former Judan.
right, yes. I mean, he's not a weak player, but you wouldn't expect. You kind of expect the top 4. You, Shibano,
Yes.
Shu, and
Yuzenchi would have
Shiriki.
been
Yeah.
the favorite in this game.
Yeah. So, so that's really, really good. Evens out the Meijin League a lot. Make it interesting.
Yeah. What crazy
stuff.
It's going to be a crazy league.
Yeah. Some nice comics I've kind of missed out on. And this one qualified for the Hoban Cup World Championship.
Yeah, so this is a new Korean tournament. It's a world championship. It's a Nongshim Cup for women.
Yep.
So it's going to be first held this year, and just like the Nongshim Cup for men, there are 5 players from China, Japan, and Korea, and it will be win and continue.
Yep.
So you have to basically the last team standing wins.
Yep.
And the selection format for Korea is that Choi Jong was selected automatically
Yep.
as the undisputed number 1 women's player in Korea, and then 3 more spots were assigned via qualifiers.
Yep.
And then the final spot was going to be a wild card.
Yep.
So the qualifiers finished, I believe, yesterday.
Yep.
And OU Jin qualified. She beat Cho Hee Hyun, who otherwise would have been a strong contender for a spot on this team. But OU Jin won, and she is the second top woman player in Korea, the only other woman in the top 100 in Korea, so that's no surprise. Hyo Se-Hwin also qualified, and I think she's just outside the top 10 women in Korea. She might be number 11 or 12. But she's always one of the first to be picked in women's Baduk league. So
right.
Yeah, she's a formidable player.
Yeah.
And she's a good pick.
Yep.
Lee Sol-ju is a very unexpected qualifier. She only turned pro last year. I think she's about 15. And she hasn't really done much. She hasn't really got much on her resume. I think she's made a couple of quarterfinals of some women tournaments. But other than that, it's very surprising. She's very unexpected.
Yeah, and of course, some big names didn't really make it, did it?
No. So, Cho Song-ah lost in the second round. I think she was well short of qualifying. She lost to some random player, some one Dan or something.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, I don't even know who she lost to. Who did she lose to? She lost to Kim Mi something.
Yeah, but it's like number 3 and number 4 in Korea.
Yeah, so
made
Kim
it.
Chi-young is number 3 in Korea.
Yeah.
She lost to Oh Jong-ah,
Yeah.
who is I think number 8 in Korea. So it's not too surprising, but she did lose.
Yeah.
And then Oh Jong-ah lost her next round game to someone else.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just see if I can find. So Oh Jong-ah beat Kim Chi-young. No, I don't have the the keepers of the games.
Well, now we can cover this Hoban Cup when the Chinese team and the Japanese team have been determined, because then it will be really interesting because we can kind of look at the simulations and all that stuff. But okay, this is
by the way, Kim Yoon-ji, who is number 5 in Korea, she lost to Heo Seo-hyun.
Right.
She got knocked out by Heo Seo-hyun.
Yeah.
So that's why she's not there.
Yeah. Okay, so there's basically of the top 5, 3, 4, 5 are missing, but they only have one wild card left.
They only have one wild card left. It'll definitely be one of those 3 that will get the wild card. I would pick Kim Chi-young.
Yeah.
But Cho Song-ah would also be a good pick.
Yeah. So let's see what the Korean team turns out to be. And okay, this is a bit of a disappointing thing. I really don't want to report on this, but the 47th Gosei. Now I actually checked online. None of the Kifu's there for Gosei, 47th Gosei. So the Gosei is like a knockout tournament to determine the challenger who will challenge for the Gosei title.
It's a major.
It's a major, but none of the Kifu's are there. I'm not sure what's happened, but
that's really frustrating. Sometimes I remember the game was on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I remember it wasn't even online. You couldn't even follow it live online.
Yeah.
So
that's.
I'm not even sure if possibly the game wasn't even recorded.
Yeah.
That seems outrageous to me, because it's a major, and this is the main tournament of the Gosei.
Now, if I'm not wrong, when I search online for it, a lot of the preliminary for Gosei were recorded. It's just the main tournament. None of the games Kifu have appeared this year. I'm not sure what's happened. Maybe hopefully it's not because they kind of try to withhold the rights or something, but it's a very odd situation to me.
Hopefully we get the games.
Yeah. I think the titles would definitely be online, but it's disappointing. I can't find the Kifu for these ones.
Yeah. Well, one notable thing to mention is that Ichiriki did lose the last Gosei final.
To Yamayuta.
To Yama, as it's mentioned in the description there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he is obviously trying to get back into the final.
Yeah.
It's not so easy. Once you lose the title, you have to fall back down to the round of 16, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to win 4 more games just to get back.
Yeah. So it's one game. You lose one game, you're out because it's a knockout, basically.
Yep. It's straight knockout.
Yeah. And this is so yesterday's, or rather, the game was like a quarterfinal. So basically, Ichiriki beat another strong player, Xu Chaoyuan, in the quarterfinal. So Ichiriki is now in the semi. This I'm a little bit surprised by. Not sure, but apparently the head-to-head is 10-2 in Ichiriki's favor. That's a bit of a surprise.
That's probably they probably started playing very young, and Su is I think is only just in the last year or so just realizing his potential, in my opinion.
Right.
And starting to be more consistent. But I don't think that Su struggles in particular against Ichiriki.
No,
Ichiriki is also a strong player, by the way. So
I'd be surprised if Xu actually struggles against Ichiriki. Yeah. But very evenly matched. could have gone either way. Just so happened
Yep.
that it can't
Yep.
Ichiki. But the other two semi-finals, I'm a little bit surprised by. One is Yoda Norimoto.
Well, Yoda Norimoto is a legend.
It's a legend, 100%. Single-handedly won Japan's only
Yongsan Cup, but
victory.
that was indeed 15 years ago. So
Yes,
it has been a while.
Yeah. Yoda might be in his 50s now, so
Yeah.
or maybe late
He
40s
plays
at least.
he plays in senior tournaments.
Yeah, so it looks like he still made the semi-final of a major, so good on him. The other side of the bracket, the strongest player is probably Yu Jingqi. He also takes on another player from the Kansai King, which is Nishi Takenobu. Not very famous. I haven't heard his name very much. But
Has he won a title?
I honestly cannot recall, but I would imagine not, looking at his rating. But
Well, I mean, Yu Zhengqi hasn't won a title either, except
Yeah.
for the Kansai King Championship.
well, yeah, but he's widely regarded as strong. So,
Yes,
but
he-
you'd expect so people are really realistically expecting a Ichiriki or Inui final, which is a little bit of a theme this year in the Japanese league, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, they just played the Honinbo playoff,
Yeah,
so
so it's a bit of a rivalry between the top four.
yeah.
Going on. So so that will be interesting. Hopefully there will be Kifu, but if not, I'm tempted to just ignore it. It's just too painful. I don't want to report anything that doesn't have Kifu. Just crazy. Especially when they should have Kifu. And now hopefully to one of the last bits of news. Asian Games Chinese selection. Now round two has just finished. Round two has just finished. It's just not on Pro Weiqi yet. But the first round was just crazy. Like if you look at the what's happened, basically the lower
Guzi Hao lost, Ding Hao lost,
yeah
Kojay lost.
Koji lost.
Oh my god.
Now there's even more news when I tell you about what happened in second round, which is also a bit nuts. But Keje, Ding Hao, Gu Zihao are China number 1, 2, and 3. Right, all three lost. So not too bad. But really, if you look at the league table now, I guess losing to Yang Dingxin isn't that big a deal, like for Keje, but because Yang Dingxin,
anyone can lose to Yang Dingxin. Yeah.
But it really does even out the percentages a lot. We were looking at 90% for these guys. Now it's down to 80-70% chance of making it through.
Li Juan Hao, he won 7 in stage 1, and he starts off with a win in stage 2.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. So let me just briefly verbalize what happened in round 2, right? Lian Xiao lost to Keje, so Keje has got one win on the board.
Yeah.
Xie Ke lost to Yang Dingxin, so Yang Dingxin's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Very good. Li Xuanhao beat Mi Yuting. OMG. So he's 9 wins in a row.
Wow.
Crazy. Here's another not so good news for Ding Hao. He lost to Fan Tingyu. So 2 losses for Ding Hao out of the first 2 rounds. That's not great.
No.
But that's not all. Gu Zihao also lost to To Jiaxi. OMG. So To Jiaxi is the oldest player in this top 10, and he just beat Gu Zihao, which is ranked number 3. So could we see an Asian Games without Ding Hao and Gu Zihao, or maybe even
that would be
Keje?
crazy when you've got 6 spots.
I mean, there's still 7 games to go,
And it's a round robin as well. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's
it's a
round robin.
knockout. You would expect that their clear superiority would eventuate.
Yes, but losing one more game just could see their percentage drop another 10 points maybe. So Ding Hao is still expected to come through at 72%, maybe Gu Zihao at 68, something around that point, but not 100% sure. But it's very close. The field is very strong, so anything can happen.
Right.
So that's interesting to watch. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I really don't know what's the right word to use, but what do you call it when you have the ceremony where you basically become the title holder. That's what this set of photos is about. Of course, Ichiriki won the Kisei title from Yamauta. So this is the ceremony where they basically officially crown him, or
Who's that person speaking?
that would be Ichiriki's teacher.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be him. And this is Ichiriki's mother and father. I believe.
Very nice.
Yeah, I believe his father might be a president of a media company in Japan. So so
That's a great photo.
well done. I believe the media company sponsors Gosei.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. Yeah.
Which Ichiki won. So apparently Ichiki said in interviews, he said that the title he wanted to win the most was Gosei, and he did win it because it was basically sponsored by his dad's company. So yeah, so well done to Ichiki becoming Kisei, so widely regarded as Japanese number 1. So well done. This is the ceremony where they basically made him Kisei officially. Yeah, I don't know what that is called, but that's it. Now, hopefully, one final bit of news to close out this week. Nihon Kin decided to use AI, this system called Kifu 361, to automatically record Kifus for many of the games. And apparently they play 4,000 games a year. Only about 60% of the Kifus are kept. So using this AI, hopefully they can keep more of the Kifus. And this AI system will not be used for 1-hour games or games without a camera or important matches, including title matches. So yeah. And I just read on the Taiwanese Professional Go website that apparently it's the winner in the Taiwanese comp who's responsible for compiling the Kifu and submitting it. So there you go.
That is interesting.
Yeah, but in Japan, I think most of the time you just have a young pro or maybe like an insei recording the game. So yeah,
I've always wondered that, like, the pros, what if you make a mistake writing the move down? That
is.
I've always thought they play 4,000 games a year. Surely
some mistake will pop up.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think so. I think online mistakes are more common because I see a lot of Go commentary when they commenting live. They say, "Oh, this sequence of moves doesn't look right." They might have just missed. Maybe they were playing so fast the guy recording it would just kind of miss one move because but the final shape looks like this, so just kind of randomly play some stones there to make it look like that. But I guess Go is a game where I kind of like if you make a mistake, it kind of becomes obvious. I guess. So
I guess when you're an insei or a pro, it's a bit harder to make the mistake because it's a little bit more obvious that.
Oh yeah, you can kind of see where the next logical move is. I guess. Yeah. Oh well, you know what? That's a wrap for this week.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Yeah, it's a crazy week, and hopefully some of the things will slow down a bit in the coming weeks.
I think all six pro regions had events, including Europe and North America.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week at the very least in Korea, they're gonna start the Baduk League playoffs.
Yep.
They'll have the Maxim Cup final games 2 and 3 if there's a game 3.
Yep.
And also LG Cup qualifiers start.
Yeah.
For the Koreans.
That'll be really interesting, and of course the Asian game selections in China that will hopefully finish. And right after immediately after, the Chinese domestic Chujo Lanka Cup will start, and so
that starts next week as well.
Yeah, right. So crazy. All right, thanks Gaza for turning up, and hopefully the recording this time will have worked out fine, and hope to see the first posting of this podcast, and let's call it a day.
All right. Later. Thanks to anyone that listened.
Yeah, probably the two of them. All right, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right.